Hello, this is my final video. I know you're going to miss these videos that I post each week, but it is lesson 14. Woo! You've made it! I am so grateful for each of you and impressed with all that you've done this semester and all that you've learned in your growth. I'm amazed at how much improvement I've seen in your English, but also how much I've learned, even more importantly, in your growth spiritually. As some of you have shared through email or discussion board, different insights that you've gained this semester. So this last week looks a little different than most. We do not have a discussion board, but you can go on the questions and conversations to ask any general questions. Just want to go over, in my note this week, I list the different items. You have a final course reflection. And this, I'll go into greater detail. I'll actually click on it, but this is one that I think is even more important and helpful than the final course test. And so the next one is personal revelation. This is a time for you to look at the revelation that you've received, and the final exam practice test, as I talked about last week, it can be taken as many times as you want, and you can use notes. So take that as much as you want before you feel like you're ready for the final test. The final vocabulary exam, you are not allowed to use notes, course vocabulary charts, or dictionaries. So make sure you're not using any of those resources. It's on your own. Your final exam, the only thing that you can use are the notes that you've taken. Then you have a post-course survey that you need to make sure you submit. You will have your last gathering this Thursday. And I'm hoping that you're able to keep in touch with many of those that you've become friends with at your gatherings, because it's kind of sad to see that come to an end. But then if you continue into the other courses, you'll still have that. So Thursday night, make sure you attend that and submit your attendance. Just a reminder, everything has to be turned in by Saturday night at 11 o'clock. Nothing can be... I will not be reopening any assignments. I have to get my grades in, so I can't be getting those submitted if I'm getting emails from people needing things reopened. So you can't submit anything after Saturday night at 11. So make sure you have everything turned in. Even though I submit grades, I have to submit grades. I submit mine on Monday. You will not be able to see your grade for a little bit until BRU Idaho does their part. But just know that Saturday night, that's it. So if I were you, I would try to have everything in by Friday, in case anything comes up, in case you don't have internet connection, you have an error, something's not working. It helps us, gives us time to get it figured out, so it's so that you still can get it turned in and give you time to do that. I want to come up, just quickly go over the assignments. Let me hide my face so you can see it. So here I want you to, on the final course reflection, and these all say due July 25th, but we have been told they were going to go in and change those, but everything is due Saturday night, so don't stress if it's saying due July 25th. As we look at the final course reflection, let me, like it says here, this is a lengthy assignment, so make sure you're saving it as you go so that you don't work so hard on a document and then the internet, your computer shuts down or crashes and you lose it. So make sure you're saving it. So what you'll do there, it explains each part of the assignment. There are 4 parts. If you just click on the template, it will show you those 4 parts, but the explanation is helpful here if you want to come back to click on each of these to see what you're supposed to do in each of those sections of the template. Wait for it to pull up. There it is. Okay, so what you're asked to do is think about what you've learned in each of the lessons. So starting with lesson 2. What is the most important thing you want to remember from Lesson 2? So if you need to go back in our course and look at what we learned in Lesson 2, what was the one thing you want to remember? And then why? Don't just tell me what it was and then move on. Explain why that was important. And you'll do that for disciple leadership. What was the one thing that you want to make sure you remember, and why is that so important for you to remember? You'll do that through each of the lessons. So that's the first part. The second part is, like here it says, each answer should be at least 3 sentences. So I need 3 sentences answered here and 3 sentences here. So what you need to do is think of how your learning happened from one lesson to another, and how earlier knowledge increased or was added by a later lesson. Then ponder what you've learned, and how was it helpful to interact with others? How did that help and improve your learning? That's part 2. Part 3, you answer the following questions, once again with at least 3 sentences. I will deduct points if we aren't meeting that requirement. How could you be, what ways are you more effective than you were when it began? Are you more self-reliant? How have you served more since this class, and how has your English improved? Then the last part is about applying your knowledge. So with applying, once again, we need at least 3 sentences. What concepts do you want to continue applying to your life even though the semester is over? So maybe self-reliance. Maybe I want to still work on my self-reliance with food storage. Well, how will you apply this? And make sure you have 3 sentences there. 3 sentences explaining how. What are some things you're going to do? Maybe I will continue to work on my SMART goal, which was add food every time I visit the grocery store, whatever it is. So make sure you do that part. Then I'm just briefly going to, and once again, it was 4 parts. Here's part 1 is explained. Oh, sorry, part 1 is explained here. Part 2 is explained, 3 and 4. And then you'll submit your template. The other, so I think this one is, like I said, it's almost like a big portfolio, and I would suggest saving your template somewhere so you can refer back to it and remember what things did I want to learn from each of the lessons. Just the last thing I want to cover, is just looking through as we go. If you click on content for lesson 14, once again you can ask a question here, but we don't have a normal discussion board. Then you'll have your practice test, your exam, post-course survey that just asks a question about it. Then your vocabulary exam, and then you have to do, and of course evaluation reminder, so having you do that if you have not. If you have any other questions, just let me know. I almost forgot, I want to go into the topic introduction. So once you click there, read or watch all of the materials that are provided for you. As you see there, you'll watch a Mormon message, you'll read, and then you'll choose one of the conference talks to study, as you'll see here. And then you'll download this template and fill it in. There's just 2 questions that it asks. How did personal revelation impact you, and how has your testimony been strengthened? So make sure that's just a little different. We've never had an assignment quite like that. But I do love reading these assignments and seeing how you express that your testimony has changed, or maybe it's just been strengthened in a certain area. But I want to just end this video by thanking each of you, wishing you best of luck in the future, and hoping that you know that Heavenly Father is there for you. As I've worked with each of you, I just can feel of His love for each of you in this. For some of you, this leap of faith that it took to start this program, but I'm grateful that you did. And I hope you've seen how it's improved your life and who you are, and that you can continue. And I hope you would reach out and let me know through email any updates in your life or anything you want to tell me. I am still here for you, even if I'm not your instructor. So, thanks everyone, and best of luck.